Everything will be a spoiler from here on out. You have been warned.
Do you remember? So we're 5 years into this booktube? Like, we had talks about how to handle spoilers at least the first year of us doing this.
Every video.
Like, at what point do we move into spoilers versus non-spoiler? Like, and eventually we're like, you know what? We're just going to do 100% spoiler 100% of the time. Like, do you remember those days?
Oh, yeah, because we would discuss, all right, when in the video, well, we got to talk about publication and dates and this about the author, and then we'll discuss non-spoiler stuff, and then we'll get into the analysis with the spoiler stuff. It was very stressful. And then I don't know what point where we just threw it out the window and said, forget it. It's all the time on. And you, as the viewer, have the responsibility for yourself. I can't do it for you.
I remember that. I totally forgot we used to have a structure about intro, hook, publication, quotes. We used to have a quotes section. Do you remember that?
Oh, quotes. Yes. You used to do all the fancy graphics.
And now when we record, I'm like, hey, what alcohol are you drinking?
What? No. The first question is, what shirt are you wearing?
Yep.
So we have different shirts. And then, what alcohol are you drinking?
Yep. For me, I am drinking Dovetail from Barrel tonight, just to share that.
I am drinking. My birthday was on Thursday, and I took some of my birthday money and I got myself a really nice tequila. So I'm drinking tequila.
So going through this, we are doing the spoilers book tag, which was written by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot when they were a party of two, much like us.
All right. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
All spoilers.
All right. So this is obviously a book tag specifically on spoilers, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting. I already told you this, but I actually asked my wife each of these questions because I was like, we don't really do spoilers. Spoilers aren't like a big thing for us. Like, can I get your perspective on this, honey? And I think you said you did the same thing with your wife.
After you texted me all the questions, I went up to my wife. I said, hey, can you be a soundboard and I kind of like review, because I don't know if I have any good answers to this, and it'd make a really boring 10-minute YouTube video. So I also kind of cheated and went to my wife. Maybe we should have them on here.
We probably should have, because okay, I'll speak for myself. I used to care about spoilers a lot. And I got to this point where, like, it made me angry, like, at the person, at the experience of the book. Like, it was like, hey, this is a problem. Like, this is taking away too much for me to, like, nitpick over this. Like, what's going on? And I went through, like, this soul searching of, like, how much does knowing about what's going to happen actually influence me? And when I sat down and really thought about it and forced myself to really face this, I realized, like, and again, you might have a different answer, but for me, I'm like, it doesn't. Like, if anything, like, it enriches it, because I'm always like, when I'm like, I'm an 80s kid, like, I will rewatch 80s and 90s movies all day long. When I rewatch them for the 100th and 101st time, like, I'm always discovering something new, like a new angle that I hadn't thought of, that spoilers are almost like non-existent at that point. Once you get past like 5, 8, 9 watches of a movie, like, it's like I've got the whole thing memorized at this point. I'm just having fun. And so I kind of like did the soul searching, and I've decided spoilers aren't a thing for me. Like, I'm just going to kill and stop caring about them.
I think I'm to that point as well. It might be an age thing. It might just because you and I think a lot alike anymore. I remember being furious for spoilers for anything, not just books, shows, movies, video games, all of it. If somebody told me something, I got upset because I wanted all of it to be new and fresh. And I remember when all of that changed, because Star Wars The Last Jedi was kind of spoiled for me, and I was upset. And then I watched the movie, and the movie was awful, in my opinion. And I said, I got so mad over this spoiler, and I don't even like the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I got angry over it, and I had that negative energy out in the world, and that seems very counterproductive. And I'm kind of like you. As I move forward, I realized, I can watch the other Star Wars movies. I can watch Spaceballs or Ghostbusters or anything from my childhood, comedies, Ace Ventura, and I can quote the entire movie and I have more fun. And I know every single word that's going to happen, and the music and the nuances and the facial things. I know all of those things, and I have just as much fun. I enjoy just as much. So why should a spoiler ruin my fun for me? And I moved into the same space as you.
So we both came from a place of anger to a place of acceptance. All right. Question number 1. What do you consider a spoiler? And my wife says, when a character dies, pivotal event outcomes, plot twist. Agree with all 3 of those. And then the 4th one I could maybe disagree with a little bit, which was ending. Because I think sometimes the ending, it's about the journey to it that empowers the ending more so than what the actual ending is maybe my one thing where I might disagree with her on that.
My wife said it's very subjective what a person feels like they would not want to know prior to actually experiencing it themselves. So all the things you just listed off, I think could be spoilers. It really depends of what is going to change your mood, what is going to change your enjoyment, what is going to change your viewpoint on whatever you're consuming to feel that it's a spoiler. And I think the easiest way, she said, is like sporting stuff. People record it and they want to watch it later, and if someone tells them who wins or loses, they feel like the game has been spoiled instead of seeing all the cool plays that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really
I can get
good
that.
insight.
That is a good insight. I haven't told you this. We have been lectured too many times in our Before You Read Brothers Karamazov video. I say too many times. It's probably like 3 times. Where someone says, because like we say someone dies in the book, but we don't say who or something like that. And people are like they'll write out, how dare you tell me a character dies? Like now that moment when it happens is completely ruined. I'll never be able to get that back. Like how could you do that to us? And every time I'm like, read the first line in the book, and it's like, so-and-so dies. Like it's like the first the first page, like first sentence of the book. And I'm just like, can we really call that a spoiler? Like did I really ruin a huge lead up when it's the first sentence of the book? It's interesting how some people, because if I look at it from their perspective, they're like, they don't want to know the characters died, because usually like you grow with that character, you have an attachment to them, so that way it means more when you lose them. So therefore they'll completely like write a paragraph or 2 just flaming me for something that is just like, oh, it was the first sentence. My bad, man. Sorry about that.
We better never review the Bible. They'll be really angry. There's a guy that dies in this book.
There's a generation of people that die in this book.
A lot of people die. Yeah. I guess that's one thing that is really true is death always seems to be a pivotal factor associated with spoiler. Because in most books, games, whatever, unless it's, some type of fantasy or sci-fi, death is very permanent. And so you feel a sense of loss. And I think that's why people get angry about the, quote, spoilers of who might die in whatever media they're consuming. Just my opinion.
No, that totally makes sense. Question 2. Now, here's another thing. I'm curious if we all 4 agree on this one. Does the genre you're reading impact what you consider to be a spoiler? Did all 4 of us, me, my wife, you, your wife, all say yes, particularly for mysteries and whodunits?
Yep. Yeah. That's what she said. And she also said a little bit of like horror, because she was a big Stephen King reader when she was younger. And she would say, yeah, if someone kind of spoiled the twist, then definitely, yeah. Whodunits, mysteries, things like that, if they tell you who did it. But I used to get mad at that. But now, like, if someone told me, I would be like, if I watch, can I pick up the clues?
Mm-hmm.
Or can I see the clues the writer did or the director did or whatever? Because they always leave you clues throughout the story that could have led you to figuring out the who way earlier than actually it's spoken or said in the book or the movie or show.
Right. You've been given the answer, so now you know how to figure out. It's kind of like when you get like the Sudoku or like puzzles where they give you like an answer to get started. And then you got to figure out the other pieces that surround it that complete the puzzle, right? You know who the murder is. Does it really ruin it, or does it allow you to then complete the puzzle the way like a Sudoku would work, right?
Yeah, it's another journey. It's a different adventure, is what it is.
Okay. So number 3, all the best bits are in the trailer. Sometimes a synopsis can be too detailed. Do you research books prior to reading them, or do you prefer to know nothing about the book? I know your answer. You don't do any research. You're just like, what does Una tell me to read?
That's literally what I told my wife. I said, I don't know what to say. And she goes, well, what about when you don't do something for the channel? And I said, oh, that's a good point. And the best answer I come up with is, the answer is yes, I do. If I'm going to listen to something that's not for the channel, I do look up reviews or synopsis of what someone says about the audio voice actor, because that is a make or break it for me, because if their voice doesn't jive, I can't listen. So
do you ever do like the free samples where you can like listen to like 30 seconds or like a minute or so of the book?
Oh, you get like 5 minutes on Audible now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
or they'll
that's
give you
a
like
good
the
way
full
to do
first
it, too.
chapter. Yeah.
But I think that's pretty reasonable, because like if you're like, I'm going to try out a show, you're like, okay, what? I'm investing 20 minutes for these episodes, or, you know, for 45-minute episodes, maybe an hour, maybe 2, right? Like, which for most people is not that big of an investment. But when it comes to books, like, what are we talking about? We talk about a 35-hour book. We talk about a 20-hour book. Like that's a lot more time when it comes to picking up that book, that I think it's reasonable to say, what have other people been feeling or thinking about, or what are some traps when it comes to walking into this book that, I don't know, I'm biased. I'm sitting here on YouTube as a book review channel. Like obviously I respect book reviews because I use them, but I guess we're not a book review channel. We're a book discussion channel, but I think there's a lot of investment into a book. We want to make sure that investment is worth it, I guess.
Yeah. Risk versus reward, for sure.
Yeah. Number 4, sometimes the introduction or translator's notes can spoil the ending, especially the classics. Oh, do they? Has this ever happened to you? ?
I don't think so. I can't. I think for War and Peace, I think when I was looking at stuff.
First of all, do you read the foreword?
Yes.
A lot of times I don't. Like I've start because of this reason, where like sometimes they give you too much, or they say, think about the book this way, which is fine. But I kind of like, for the purpose of this channel, I need to go into a book and just think about it my own way, right? Like just a very authentic way, I guess is the way I view it. So yeah. I don't even read the intros because of that.
I feel like, again, it's subjective what you think a spoiler is. I think when I've looked at like footnotes, or I've looked at translations, sometimes it feels like it gives a little bit too much information, depending on your perspective. You know, are they translating it correctly? I guess that's the thing of what is a spoiler again, because if something is coming from Portuguese or Spanish or Russian to English, the translation is not going to be perfect, right? So I think there's too many nuances to that for me.
Fair enough. Now, my wife said she goes back after reading the book and typically looks at that, or particularly if like an author piques her interest, she'll look more into that author, for example.
Well, that's a smart way of doing it. Yeah.
All right. My wife, she's smarter than me. Number 5, name a time somebody spoiled a novel for you. And I'm going to throw my wife under the bus on this one. She spoiled The Prisoner of Azkaban for me. She told me what the secret was with the guest dark arts professor that season.
That's hilarious. I'm sure I did. Again, I was talking to my wife about this, and she said, you taught for a lot of years. You probably said something that some student felt was a spoiler when they read it, and they were like, dang you. I'm sure at some point in teaching, you know, history and English and special ed and literature and all of it, all the different things that I taught, I'm sure I said something that some student considered a spoiler at some point in time. Whether it was Harry Potter related, I don't know. I feel like it could have been, I don't know. Let's say it was Charlotte's Web.
Okay.
I don't know.
You used to work at Blockbuster.
I did a long time ago. 2002.
Yeah. Do you remember a lot of those movies at that time would write on the back, like, it's an action-packed thriller was a crazy twist ending. And every time you read that, you're like, okay, well, now I'm looking for the crazy twist. Like, you kind of told me that it's not going to be what you're telling me it's going to be. There's going to be some crazy switch. So I'm going to be looking for that now. Like, do you remember those?
Oh, for sure. And I know that I kind of was in that venue and everything for a while in my life. And we might have talked about this before, where somebody, and I think I actually got mad at you one time, where you texted me something. Maybe it was tacky. Somebody texted me one time something of like da 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 da, and I'm like, please don't give me your opinion. I don't want to know if you think it's good or bad, because I feel like my opinion is tainted, that my expectations are it's supposed to be good like yours are. And I just like, and now I think back about how ridiculous that is, of like, who cares what one person's opinion of something is, because there are plenty of things that I have hated that other people loved. And there are things that I love that other people think are trash. So,
Yeah.
Just be true to yourself.
Now, a very related question. Question 6 is, have you ever spoiled a novel for somebody else? This one is interesting because with wikis, like, I don't know if you ever, like, sometimes, like, you missed something in a show, and rather than rewatch the whole show, you're like, well, I'll just look up online, like, a recap of that or something like that. It's very common, particularly in comics, right? Like, to look up, like, a character bio, like, what's his powers? And you can flip down to the powers. This happened to me the other day. Like, we were talking about a character in a comic when I was talking with a friend. And so I look up the wiki page of that character from that comic, and it says this character invented da 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 before dying from blah 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 blah. And I had no idea. I had no idea that character was gonna die. And this is a character that was like introduced like hundreds of issues. Like you had a lot of back with that story, and I'm reading it out loud to my friend that we were talking about something with this character, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I didn't know that character was gonna die." And I'm like,
neither did I.
Now you do.
My wife and I had a similar thing happen again. I was talking to her about all these questions, and she couldn't remember which show it was, and I couldn't either. But she said, remember when we were watching a show on Amazon or Netflix, and when you go down to like the season button, it has all of them lined up. And then when you finish an episode and go back to the main screen, sometimes the next one will already be there. In the synopsis, it like episode 8, the cliffhanger was like, is this person going to live or die? And then like right when it goes back to the main screen, you see episode 9 picture, and it has a synopsis of like, blah, 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 and it has their name of like what was happening. We're like, oh, well, we know they live. Like, we don't need to watch it right now. We can save it till next week or tomorrow night or whenever we're going to watch this show again. And it's like, it lost all of its buildup. And I guess that's annoying. Like, I'm still going to watch the show because I'm invested in the characters and the development and all of those other things. But it's annoying more than anything else at this point in my life.
My sister has a very famous moment with that because remember, I mean, you and I grew up in the time of Star Wars. We watched those movies so many times we don't have to watch them anymore. We can quote the whole thing, right? And when they announced that they're doing a prequel, like and it's like unheard of, like a new Star Wars movie before we knew they were going to suck was coming out. And my sister bought the soundtrack because if you remember back in those days, the soundtracks came out about a week before the movie dropped.
Oh, yeah, I know about this. Yeah.
So I won't say who, but one of the characters in that, there's a I think the song was called Such and Such Dies or Such and Such Funeral.
Funeral. Yeah. Funeral procession. Yeah.
Totally telling you which character wasn't making it out of the movie. And my sister was so angry at that. I don't know if they've learned their lesson and now they know not to do something so stupid. But I remember that was pretty famous that my sister was so mad.
Oh, yeah. It's right there. Funeral procession. It's like the 11th thing on the soundtrack. That one's infamous for many people being upset. The whole thing's spoiled. Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, number 7. If spoilers ruin novels, are there some authors or genres you can't reread? Some authors. I wonder why they put authors there. Like if like an author does like the same shtick over and over again, maybe.
Yeah, I guess if like that with M. Night Shyamalan that he's always going to have a twist, so you're just always anticipating it, and if it doesn't happen, then you're disappointed immediately. If it does happen, you're like, oh, well, there it is, same song, dance, and dog and pony show. So I could see that. I guess I kind of think of it of like almost like plot armor. A person's shtick, and if you're invested in it, that's going to upset you. But I can't think of like one spoilery-ish thing would just turn me off immediately from a specific author or genre. But to bring it back, I guess the whodunit or mystery stuff, almost kind of thinking of like the Scooby-Doo effect is what I'm going to call it, to where they always figure it out at the end of who the bad guy is, who the murderer is, who the one that did it is. If you're expecting to always have that and you find an author that never provides it and it always upset you, I could see somebody, being turned off from that author of like, I have to have closure and this author never gives me closure. I'm not reading their stuff anymore, because I totally get that of like, you want to be told the ending. When I was a young reader, I wanted it explicitly listed out what was happening to the characters at the end of the story.
Yet you still read Stephen King.
This is true. I mean, think of The Princess Bride, right? Think of The Princess Bride. He closes the book before the end. He's like, Grandpa, you can finish it. He's like, no, you don't want to hear that.
You
He's
don't
like,
want
no,
that
I do want to hear
it. You don't
I want that kissing stuff now.
Great movie. Now, this next question, I just put, as my answer. When reviewing, number 8, when you're reviewing, are you spoiler free? ? Does this practice limit your ability to discuss?
Oh
yeah. We will spoil you within 30 seconds. I promise that.
Yeah, we spoil all the people around here. I think that just comes with that we're not a review channel. We are an analysis. We go in depth. And maybe it's not fair, because if someone came into a video, our 500th video, we don't mention every single time that, hey, spoilers are going to be thrown out. Maybe there should be a disclaimer, but yeah, that's where we're at in our lives.
Yeah, we've given up.
Well, I ain't got much life left, so.
We're closer to the end.
Spoiler.
Than we are to the
No,
beginning
I'm not
at this
dying.
point.
No, I'm just kidding. Joke.
All right. I didn't answer number 5 either, because we don't have 5 friends anymore, but it said, tell us 5 channels you enjoy and then tag them.
What about Noah?
Dude, he quit like 2 years ago, bro.
Oh, I'm a terrible friend. Okay. Delete that. Spoiler. Noah quit 2 years ago.
Spoiler, he quit.
Oh, God. I am a terrible friend.
Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.
Peace.